Ready to get weird? Hello friends and welcome to Britt's special Valentine's Day video, which is going to get very awkward because she is going to talk about all of her video game crushes throughout her life and why is she talking third person about herself, myself, what? See, this is already off to a terrible start. Bad idea. So with that said, happy Valentine's Day to you, whether you are sitting at home alone with your hand or your vibrating device or your significant other or significant others. I hope you have a wonderful evening, day, whatever the hell you're doing. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah. I would take this day to embarrass myself and put myself out there for ridicule and talk about my most notable video game crushes throughout my life. Isn't that what everyone does on Valentine's Day? Valentine's Day evening? Stand in front of a camera and drink whiskey out of a Zelda mug and talk about their most treasured video game crushes? Yeah, just me. And these are gonna go kind of in order from like earliest to latest crushes, so you'll get a nice timeline of my life, which I know you've always wanted that. The first video game crush I ever remember truly having was on adult Ryu from Breath of Fire 3. Something about this. Okay, this is gonna get kind of weird, and I don't know what it is, but something about seeing young Ryu and then him like turning into a man, and his voice gets all deep and kind of masculine, and his hair gets longer and floppier, and he just has more like swag. I just said swag about him. Something, and I don't know what it is because the dude has no personality whatsoever. He doesn't even have a line of dialogue. He just grunts and groans a lot. But something about him, man, freaking turned my crank, I tell you what. And I was 9 years old. Oh God. I also had a thing for Ray, which is like, he's this weird lion human hybrid creature. My crush is no bounds, ladies and gentlemen. I do not discriminate against lion people, obviously, but he at least had a personality, and he was kind of a sarcastic, quick-witted trickster. Yeah, that was my first major video game crush, and I looked up fan art, I read fan fiction about all these characters because, yeah, those got the emotions rolling, I tell you what. Oh God. The next notable crush would be Link from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and that was a doozy. That was a doozy of a crush, and it's funny because I remember when I got the game, I was only 11 years old, and I remember reading in the player's guide that Link was 11 years old, and I turned to my best friend, and I played the game with her, and I said, "Brianna!" I was like, dude, he's 11 years old, just like us! Ah. And now looking back on that, it's like, wow, I was 11 years old when that game came out, and that just kind of blows my mind a little bit. But I digress. Yeah, so Link, okay, and there's something else to this too. So I had the hugest crush on Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys, and I may or may not still have that crush. I don't really know, actually. I haven't really like revisited those feelings in a while. God, this is so weird. So anyway, Link, young Link, and especially adult Link, they looked like Nick Carter. They resembled Nick Carter because Nick Carter had like the blonde like bowl cut. Is it called a bowl cut? Buzz cut? I don't know what the fuck it was called. It was where the hair was like long on each side, and Link no, he didn't sound like him at all. He looked like him. And that was good. That was very good for me. now this next one, I'm laughing already because it's already terrible. I'm joking. If you guys have played Majora's Mask, I, for some weird reason, had a crush on I don't know how to pronounce it, the Zora, the fucking fish. I liked the fish. I thought he was like a rock punk, and I was like, dude, I like that guy, even though he's alive for all but 15 seconds before he withers away into nothing on the beach. But for those brief like moments I spent with him, I liked his attitude. I'm like, this guy's fucking awesome. And then I could always turn into him with the Zora mask, and that was fun. And my friend Melissa also had a thing for him, so we would often gush about the Zora. Mikau. That's just a weird one. That's definitely one of the more weirder ones I've ever had. It just doesn't quite make sense. I was a young hormonal teenager. I was like 13. What can I say? Now this next crush, and this one was a fucking doozy, and this one spiraled way out of control, was Zidane Tribal of Final Fantasy IX. How old was I? 13 or 14, around the same time as I developed my crush for the Zora. And I played Final Fantasy IX, and I immediately fell in love with his personality. And I liked his kind of like rebel attitude, and I liked his blonde hair, because again, the whole Nick Carter thing, I know. And I became like quite literally obsessed with him. Like I wrote fan fiction that probably, if I tallied it up, was over 500 pages of fan fiction about Zidane, and then it's a weird like crossover universe where Trunks from Dragon Ball Z is involved, and it's just fucking weird. And then this is gonna get really weird, is that fan fiction turned into this weird like, it morphed this weird backstory where Zidane was part of like the Bloods or something, or the Crips in LA. And I told you it's weird. And from then I became obsessed with gangs, and then I would read gang books and learn gang signals and gang signs. And I don't know them anymore, thank goodness. But so all of that kind of stemmed from my crush from Zidane, and it's just weird, and he's not attractive. He looks very strange, and he has a weird tail, and I don't know, man. I don't know. And I was so freaking obsessed with this kid that I always wanted to know what he sounded like. And I resented Final Fantasy X for the longest time because I always felt like if Final Fantasy IX had been delayed, it would have came to the PlayStation 2, and then maybe we would have gotten better graphics and voice acting. Anyway, so I was so mad because I always wanted to know what Zidane would sound like if he talked. So I knew he was 16, and I was about 16 as well. No, I wasn't. I was 13. I lied. 13, 14. And I remember there's one scene in the game where you can hear him breathing, like he's breathing really hard, and it's a cutscene, and I remember you could hear him actually breathing, and from that I tried to like figure out what his voice would sound like, and so I recorded that scene on my VCR, because you could do that back in the day, record channel 3 and listen to him breathe. Ew, weird. This next crush was very brief, but it was still there. Jet from Wild Arms 3. I liked his hair, and I don't know, his personality was he was kind of a douchebag, wasn't he? He was just really quiet, and I always wanted him and Victoria, I think that was her name, the main character. I wanted them to like hook up, but I don't think that ever happened. I don't even remember, to be honest, but I do remember my feelings for him. Around this time, I was playing Ark the Lad, Twilight of the Spirits, so honorable mention goes to Dark from that game, the half Deimos looking guy who sounds like Vegeta. I don't know what it was about that character, but I thought he was hot, and I liked his badass personality. However, he does sound like Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z, and that is kind of a turn off, so I won't give him like full credit, but I will give him an honorable mention. I can just see me now, like 10 years ago at my high school graduation. Hey Britt, what do you think you're gonna be doing with your life in 10 years? Well, I'll be sitting in front of a camera drinking whiskey out of a Zelda mug talking about my top video game crushes. What about you? The next crush, and this is kind of well, I can't say what it is because I don't want to spoil it, even though it's a very old game, and if you're a Resident Evil fan, you suck at life for not playing this. Steve from Resident Evil Code Veronica. I liked his hair. Again, I had a thing for the hair, the Nick Carter kind of like haircut thing, and I don't know if my crush on him was just because he was the only like likable male character in Code Veronica, because he's really whiny and really, he's kind of a pansy, and he redeems himself during the game, but at first he's just very like, Claire, and he's really whiny, but my friend Rihanna, her and I had a huge crush on him together, and that's all I'll say about that. Oh, Steve. This next one you're going to be very familiar with if you know me, or if you've known me for more than 5 seconds, and that is Alistair from Dragon Age. Well, I almost said Dragon Age Origins. I don't want to say Dragon Age Inquisition because something happened to him after Dragon Age Origins, and that's just unfortunate. So the thing with Alistair and Dragon Age, I get this question a lot. What do you like so much about Alistair? What is it about him that turned you into a blubbering puddle of blonde hair and vagina? And I'm like, well, you know, and I never really could figure it out because he's not the brightest star in the sky. However, he does have a nice face in Dragon Age Origins, and he's very muscular, and he, he's charming. I think his stupidity is a bit charming. But other than that, it's like, why do I still, I don't want to say I still have the same amount of like obsession over him, because he's changed a lot in Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age Inquisition, but Dragon Age Origins Alistair is just like, I think some of it had to do with he was very humble and very down to earth and just very chill as a character, and that's something I'm personally attracted to. I appreciate the down to earth and the humbleness. I don't like big flashy, look at me, I'm awesome, braggy type folk. And so knowing that Alistair was like the king, but he was so chill and so innocent and so naive, but so humble and so strong at the same time, I think there's something about that was really attractive. Not to mention that Dragon Age Origins was the very first game that I like legitimately experienced a romance system with. I mean, sure, I'd played like Harvest Moon before, and you know, you give someone a turnip every day and they want to marry you, which is fantastic. But in Dragon Age Origins, you know, you actually built this relationship with this character over like 60 plus hours of gameplay. And I think that was really cool, and I think that really took me by surprise, and I think that also had something to do with like the level of obsession that I got with Alistair. The next notable crush I had after Alistair would probably have to go to the Mass Effect boys, Garrus and Kaidan. Now I have to be honest, and you know, Kaidan's very bangable, and I do appreciate that about Kaidan, but I can't say I'm very attracted to his personality. He's just too serious. He takes himself too seriously. I know he gets migraines all the time, but you know, that's not my problem, okay? It's not my job to take care of you 24/7. Sometimes I have a migraine and I want you to take care of me. How's that? So I didn't like that he was always so like kind of negative and bitchy, and what I really liked about Garrus was that Garrus was just like this free spirit, not free spirit, but he gave no fucks, right? He just kind of said what he wanted to say and he did what he wanted to do, and that ultimately led to Garrus propositioning me for interspecies sex during Mass Effect 2 after I'd already romanced Kaidan in Mass Effect 1. Yeah. So what ended up happening was that I took my conversation with Garrus a little too far, and I ended it before anything went down. But then I walked into my cabin, into Shepard's cabin, and Kaidan's photo was bloop, flipped over face down on my desk, on my drawer, wherever the hell it was. And then I realized at that point that I had made a grave error, and I had to restart a previous save file. And then all was right with the world, and I banged Kaidan in Mass Effect 3. So we are now friends at present day, and my present day video game crush is basically the entire crew of Final Fantasy 15. I love the Chocoboros. I would do all of them if given the, well, Glady, I like Glady as a character, but he's too look at me, I'm a badass, I'm a ripped stud muffin and I get all the ladies, and that's just not really attractive to me. So give me Noctis, give me Prompto, give me Iggy, and I will show them the ways of life. Oh, none of my family's watching this. As for any upcoming crushes, I think the next one will obviously be in Mass Effect Andromeda. I have a feeling I'm going to develop a little something for Link from Breath of the Wild, and I think that's it. I think that's good enough, though. You know, probably good enough. Yeah. And as always, if you like my weird shenanigans, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and stuff. I appreciate it. Yeah. Okay. Guys, suck at this freaking call to action bullshit. Alright guys, I'll see you later. Bye!